No, you guys were good.
Oh.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to the Holmdel Chamber of Commerce ChamberCast. My name is Terrence Wall, proud to host and facilitate our meeting today. The Chamber of Commerce is very much appreciative. Big shout out to Ralph Zucker and Somerset Development for allowing us to share some time in the fantastic Metro Burb in Holmdel Township. We started the Chamber of Commerce about 3 years ago or so. And you know, it's interesting. It ties to the meeting that we're going to have today because the Chamber of Commerce, when it started, it's all volunteer and it remains so. But there's always been an intersection of key groups, key initiatives, key organizations in the state and locally here. First, it's the business community, of course, the local and then by extension regional and statewide. But it's also from day one, very organically, the Chamber of Commerce was involved in nonprofits, promoting nonprofits, having nonprofits as speakers, and talking to the various folks in how to integrate and dovetail and seek synergies with what they do. And also, of course, all chambers of commerce function very well when they're interacting with their local, county, state government. And we have been so proud to have fantastic leaders from the local, the county, and the state, and the federal level involved in our programming. And so we want to thank everyone for coming. And also, just a programming note, if you are watching us on Facebook, kindly hit a watch party to spread the information and the news that you're going to hear today. We're going to have a fantastic conversation, and after the conversation is over, what we're hoping is folks say, you know what, I learned something, that was really fantastic, I'm going to come back because that was great. And that's what we try to deliver monthly. We typically have the meetings on the last Tuesday of the month, and as we are all navigating this very difficult and challenging time, we have innovated to change and modify how we're operating, how we're working, whether it be a virtual environment or, in this case, a video podcast as well, to reach out to the broader community to share ideas, initiatives, and goals and objectives to help make this world a better place. I wanted to thank our guest today. We have with us Jeremy Grunin. He's president of the Grunin Foundation. He's also a partner in Grunin Holdings. He's a very, very busy man, and I appreciate his time. He's chairman of the Count Basie Center for the Arts, past chairman of Fulfill, board member for Jersey Shore Medical Center Foundation, the Meridian Health Foundation, YMCA of Greater Monmouth, and we love the YMCA of Greater Monmouth, and Monmouth University, among other endeavors. And we're very grateful that he's able to spend time here today. And we're going to chat a little bit about what his work is and how it dovetails with the other work that's up on the stage today, and by extension, the folks that are watching and listening, about how philanthropy can be used to generate economic excellence, and how these issues all dovetail together. Nonprofits, business organizations partnering together in their communities, and also particularly for social entrepreneurship and how you can do well by doing good. We also have with us the founder of the Raine Foundation, which is reaching all in need every day. If you're familiar with the Raine Foundation, you already know the fantastic work that they do, and that's Patti Dickins, who's here with us today. And there are different initiatives that they're engaged with right now during the holiday season, Thanksgiving, Hanukkah, and Christmas, and all of the time that's very exciting and wonderful for families, and also extremely challenging during this time for families. And we're going to talk a little bit about what they're doing and how it works together with the initiatives by the folks on the stage here and in the audience. And you're going to learn what you can do to help the Raine Foundation in their efforts this year. And also, our wonderful freeholder director, Sue Kiley. Thank you so much for being here today. Sue has been involved in the Monmouth County community and beyond for many, many, many years, doing fantastic work. And she's going to be sharing the work of the Monmouth County freeholders, or soon-to-be commissioners, in January, and how businesses can take advantage of grant opportunities and other options that are available to them, and funding that's available for a limited time. So before the funding is no longer available, we're going to again repeat what we brought up previously about funding options that you simply need to invest a little bit of time in, fill out forms that are very straightforward to help build your business and survive this pandemic and learn and grow. So I want to welcome everybody. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. So what we'd like to do, we'd like to go around the room. We do have some guests here. We're in socially distanced compliance video podcast. We do have some folks here that are sharing their time. So if we can have an introduction and share who you are and where you're from, so we can share your news as well.
Hi, good morning.
Hi, how are you? I'm Marissa Medina, Director of Development with the Foundation at Bayshore Medical Center at Hackensack Meridian Health.
Thank you so much for being here. Hello.
Hello, I'm Mary Beth Walls-Pritzlaff. I am the co-founder and the executive director of Hope for Children Foundation, New Jersey.
Thank you, Mary Beth. And Hope for Children has raised over $3 million to help families right in Monmouth County here. And I know you've done a lot of work with the Raine Foundation as well, right?
Good morning. My name is Dorothy Zando. I am Vice President and Treasurer of an organization called the Victor Zando Foundation here in Monmouth County. I'm also on the board of the Women's Club of Red Bank.
Thank you. And the foundation's in memory of your brother, right? Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Hi, I'm Scott Bolio. My family owns the Holmdel Funeral Home right here in town.
I'm Denise Bolio.
And the Bolios are very involved in giving back in the local community.
Hi, I'm Chris. I'm here with the Escapology. On January 19th and 20th, we're hosting Team Vienna's birthday party along with Swing Loose, VR, and the Gathering Shops.
Thank you. And Escapology, a new business here in Bellworks. I think you choose a different charity every month, right, to sponsor? Thank you. Hello. You're going to energize all of us, I know.
Good morning, everybody. Tap Fridley XL Travel and Kick Cancer Overboard, where we give away free cruises to people affected by cancer. Thank you, Jeannie.
Thanks, Ted.
I'm Maggie O'Brien. I'm the Executive Director of the Middletown Arts Center and very happy to be here.
Thanks, Maggie. And maybe Maggie can share a little bit of the story later of how you're handling all the different hurdles that have been going on at the Middletown Arts Center. I think we should mention that a little later. Thanks, Maggie.
Good morning. I'm Carrie Kuskowski from The Connection, where I'm the Marketing and Business Development Manager. We are a managed IT service provider based in Hazlet, New Jersey.
Thank you, Carrie. And you also sell
Avon.
Remember Ding Dong? Ding Dong.
Hello, I'm Adrienne Marsigliano from Exit Realty East Coast. If you have any real estate questions, ask Adrienne, 908-601-3766.
And she's a genuine, friendly real estate agent. Yes, in Holmdel. Thank you. And I'm Jeannie Wall, and I'm the publisher of Tap Into Holmdel, Cold Snack Middletown. And I just this week am launching Tap Into Hazlet and Keyport. So thank you.
Congratulations. All right. So, hey, let's start a conversation, okay? You know, we're going to start over with Sue. You know, we're going to talk a little bit about government and business and the grant opportunities that are available. And then let's move, and Patti will be talking. This is, by the way, this is all interactive, so feel free to interrupt me at any particular time. I know some people who wouldn't mind that at all. And but then we're going to tie it all together with this way to maximize in the synergy of nonprofits and business and community groups and the other endeavors to really maximize things so people can leave here saying, you know what, it matters to be involved in nonprofits. It matters to give back. It's the right thing to do. It's also good for business and healthy for the community, for folks that are doing very well and folks that are struggling to put things together on a day-to-day basis and need that lift. So Sue, why don't you kick us off here?
Sure, no problem. I'm not shy, Terrence.
I know. That's why I love this group.
I'm actually wearing two hats today. First of all, you promoted me. You called me the director. I'm actually the deputy director of the Freeholders.
What's a word, my friends?
But I'm also on the executive board of the Raine Foundation, so I have a passion for what the Raine Foundation does. What's most important for me to get across today in the COVID times that we're dealing with is that we have a tremendous opportunity with CARES money that we were awarded in Monmouth County to be able to help municipalities, small businesses, even the arts. Maggie, I heard you talking about the Monmouth Arts. We have an opportunity to be able to award grants to all of these organizations. And we did a first round of the municipalities. I think we're up to our third round with them. We did a first round with small businesses. You have to be under $5 million in annual revenue, less than 50 employees. And if you fit into that category, you are eligible for a grant. And the grant is up to $10,000. The application is very easy. It's on monmouthcountycares.com. I think of all the C's, countycare.com. It's easy to remember. So you can apply easily and get your grant pretty quickly. The county, under the direction of Director Arnone and the freeholders, made the decision to manage this process ourselves, and we brought in a company that had experience doing the CARES grants in other counties throughout the state. They've done a phenomenal job with us, and as a result, we've been able to turn this money around very quickly. So the first round of grants has already gone out. People have already received their money. And we are now doing a second round of grants for small businesses. And a lot of people don't realize that. It's important that you get your applications in. There's another $10,000 available for those small businesses. So my plea is to make sure people take advantage of it. That was really important to say. The other thing is about what we're going through now in our county, in our state, in our country, and people are really, really struggling financially. They're struggling with childcare. Kids are home when they're not supposed to be home because they're doing virtual learning, and parents don't know how they're going to work and take care of their children. So we started an organization called the Financial Recovery Initiative at the county. And part of that initiative is a senior team or an oversight team, a network of organizations that have volunteered to do whatever they can to help people from the community that are suffering, whether it's with childcare, whether it's with homelessness, whether it's financially, whatever it may be. We created a website that's part of Monmouth Acts, ACTS. You can access it there. There are people that obviously don't know how to use a website, right? So we have a warm line, which I wish I had the number with me, but we'll get it to you.
We'll post it.
Yeah. There's a warm line that they can call, and they will get a live person that will help them through the system and help them find the resources they need. It's the biggest problem we have is telling people you got to call. You got to call and ask for the help because there are a lot of resources out there that really, really want to help. We've gotten probably about 70, 75 calls to this point. And a lot of it is for food insecurity. People need food. Some of it is for housing. And then the other thing is that the workforce development team, which is part of this group, is doing some extra training and helping people get back on their feet, whether it's in the current position they're in or the current type of work they're in, or if they want to find something outside of that. So there's lots and lots of opportunities to be able to get the help that you need to be able to get back on your feet, and then participate in things like the Small Business Success and the Raine Foundation.
Now, you mentioned the grants. With the Grunin Foundation or the other endeavors, are there matching grants available or things that dovetail with the work of the county?
Well, sure. So I first of all, thank you for having me here. I think it's a great morning. I already got a phone number, so we're off to a good start. We had an opportunity as a foundation to kind of pitch in, and I think it's a great story about kind of public-private partnerships. And that was relative to free COVID testing that we've been offering at different locations throughout the county, specifically in areas where folks don't have access. There are access issues, right? So, we're talking about Keensburg, we're talking about Red Bank, we're talking about Asbury, we're talking about Long Branch, Freehold Borough, Neptune. So, and the way that came about is really kind of exactly the way, in my mind, it's supposed to work, right? And so that was Senator Vin Gopal, who is, and let me just, I'm going to throw it all on the table. I'm a Republican. please don't judge me one way or another. Vin Gopal is a Democrat. Vin Gopal asked me to be one of the co-chairs of his kind of restart District 11 group that he put together to kind of help folks kind of think through how we could get Monmouth County kind of reopened, what we could bubble up to the governor's office, et cetera, et cetera. So I ran the nonprofit and faith-based committee for him. In those meetings, Pastor Porter, who runs the Pilgrim Church in Red Bank, brought light to an issue that folks were having access issues with testing, and they weren't the best place that they could really go would be through their places of worship. That's where they felt comfortable, et cetera, et cetera. So I heard the issue, talked to, just said, well, listen, maybe we could help. Made a phone call to Field Director Arnone, Republican, and said, listen, this is what I'm hearing. I'm willing to put up money. Would you unlock CARES money as a match to do the same? And without hesitation, he said, that sounds amazing. Let me get back to you. Got back to me within really hours, and we were mobilizing this program. And so to me, that's not only the way that like public-private partnerships are supposed to work, but it's also the way government is supposed to work, right? Listening to the people, regardless of your party affiliation, identifying an issue and saying, now let's see how we can go fix it together. And so that's a long-winded way of answering your question.
Well, yeah, and Patti, it's a little bit is connecting the people who need the help, right, at that moment, because we're all in this, the journey of life, right? So it's sometimes you need help and sometimes you can offer help, right? But connecting the people that need the help with the people who want to help but may not know how to help. And that's part of the catalyst. And I think it ties to some of the pillars that you with the Grunin Foundation. But what's your experience in connecting those two key groups, really, the folks who need the help at the moment,
right,
and the folks that are very much willing to help, but they're not clear on how to make that happen.
Right.
How do you connect them for us?
So I'm the founder of the Raine Foundation, and we started, quite frankly, because my children are spoiled, and we realized that it was important to teach them to give back. And what I've learned, and it just kind of dovetails on something Sue said earlier, what I've learned is I get more than I give, by far. Volunteering, especially for good, a passion, it's a feel good. So when you talk about connecting need to donors, I think it happens very organically. You get a child that is asking for, and this is real, by the way, asking for boxer shorts for Christmas. All of a sudden, there's 10 people saying, I've got that and I want to help him. And we find that that's really the best way to just tell the truth, tell the story, and people want to collaborate with you on that. Anything I'd missed?
No, I completely agree with you. The Raine Foundation is, I guess after Sandy, just grew exponentially because people didn't know where to turn. And the volunteers, as you said, were passionate about, I got to make a difference. I've got to do something. So I think we commandeered a school because they had a generator and, started cooking and getting food out. But there's a passion for volunteerism that's terrific and very rewarding. It really is.
And if I could just jump on that, I am one that I'm always saying, oh my God, we get thousands of people. And my husband actually challenged that and said, there's no way you're getting 1,000 people. So we started counting, and we were finding we were up to 20,000 people over 10, 15 days, So volunteers are all up for it. They are out there and they want to help. And I think what helps us is being very hands-on. If they can come out and see it, feel it, touch it, they're in and they're helping.
That ties to a little bit is one of your key goals is building capacity. So can you speak to that?
Yeah, so I was going to kind of jump in with that. So we launched a program a couple years ago called Catapult Your Capacity. It's a program that is working to build capacity in the nonprofit community throughout Monmouth and Ocean County. And so I think where it's a little different than what a lot of foundations do is a lot of foundations will do a lot of capacity workshops for their grantees.
Jerry, can you define?
Yeah, I'm going to define capacity.
I'm sorry.
I'm glad, it's funny you said that because we use these words and people are like, okay, capacity. What does that mean? Is that like how much we can hold? So capacity relative to nonprofits. It really talks about how much, what their ability to do work is, right? So, for example, building capacity in a nonprofit may be strengthening their ability to raise money. It may be strengthening their ability to grow a volunteer base. It may be helping them with budgeting. Right. It may be adding personnel. It may be adding infrastructure relative to technology. Right. One of the bigger ones is helping with board development, right? So many nonprofits are really reliant on a strong board, not only to raise money for them and make connections for them within the community, but oftentimes to do volunteer work, right? Because they don't have large staffs. So our belief was that rising tides lift all boats. So if we could help like all of the nonprofits in our communities, then we could make more impact, right? But the other thing that happens, which I think is so important, is that nonprofits start to organically work together, right? And I heard you guys talking about how you've done work with Hope for Children, right? Yeah. Who I think I was at their gala here when it was in this building a number of years ago. But what happens is this is not like McDonald's versus Burger King, right? We're not trying to make a better burger and put the other one out of business. We're trying to solve problems, right? And too often in the nonprofit world, we get caught in our own little silos. We get caught in our own tunnel vision of what we're working on, and we don't work together. So by bringing folks together in these catapult sessions, we saw that organically there was kind of collective impact happening, right? Where folks were saying, hey, you're doing some work that kind of ties together with the work we're doing. Let's do it together. Let's mobilize our resources together. And we've seen some really great stuff there. But those sessions are also open for board members because, to your point, right, you need volunteers. You need people to hear the message, to see the need. And so it's really been a great program for us. And now we've had to take it, of course, virtually. Where we're doing kind of virtual lunch hours, we're doing training sessions. We just did a really great one about social entrepreneurship this past week with an expert from Rutgers University. So that's kind of where we are.
And part of what you're seeing and hearing is really a holistic approach, which there's an interdependency of all the different parts. And in the Grunin Foundation, in your work, and I think the work of most of the folks up here, you travel in different lanes too, right? You're in the educational lane, the healthcare lane, as well as the arts. We're entering into we've been in a troublesome period, and we're entering into what was widely described as a second wave in regards to the pandemic. Where it goes, we will see. But we're also entering to the holiday season, winter, children are remote, students, college students remote, folks still trying to work, trying to provide for their family, and then address all the child care issues as well. How does that impact, for example, if we're speaking about the Raine Foundation, you were launched after 9/11. You had, sounds almost a second launch after Hurricane Sandy. Yeah. So out of chaos and conflict and challenge, is that when we see our better selves? Like, how should we move forward in the next few months? Because the partial lockdowns or remote on schools, Holmdel just went remote. As of tomorrow, they're going back to remote because of the counts. Where it goes, we don't know. But how do people navigate that are listening, and how do folks who want to help say, you know what, here's what I can do? How do they? Because we want them to leave with a way to funnel that goodwill and that effort to help folks. So you can speak to that.
But I have a good, I'm pretty loud.
No, you're good.
Am I on?
Yeah.
Okay. So I will say you're right. Hurricane Sandy changed everything, where we had again, thousands of people gather together to work together and support our communities. Now, however, we can't gather thousands of people, so our goals are different. Actually, I'm sorry, our goals are the same, but the way we approach them will be different. We have to do virtual now, and I don't know, or until yesterday, I didn't have a real clear plan on how we would do completely virtual support. How do we get thousands of items of food out into the community without really having a ton of help? So that is our challenge now. We've come up with a plan, and we will be scheduling volunteers 10 at a time per hour. And we will be doing contact-free for Thanksgiving, contact-free food deliveries. And we are going to figure this out. We have great plans to figure out how to do that. For Christmas, totally different. Again, we would do toys for children, and we would say, come on into our facility and find a toy over here that's what this child asked for, and then wrap it and put it in their box so that it becomes prepared for delivery at Christmas by Santa or someone, a fireman. And of course, we can't do that this year. But we have become virtual. We have gone online, and we are offering, you can sponsor a child or a family. A child is asking for anything from, a doll to the Xbox system that nobody can get, PS5, I think. So it runs the gamut, and we are now reaching out to our community virtually, and people are responding and coming back.
Patty, give everybody a sense of how many children we help every Christmas, because that's huge.
Okay, well, this year, I brought numbers. I felt like I needed to be a little bit prepared for that.
Well, we have thousands of people watching.
Yeah, no pressure.
And going to watch, so no pressure.
No pressure.
So everyone, get your pen out, your virtual pen.
So this year, we have 2,800 wishes for Christmas. We have 260 children wishes from DCS, which is formerly DIFUS. Next week, we're delivering 382 baskets of Thanksgiving meals. And you talk about working together with other organizations. We've done that. So last week, we met with Lunch Break and the Bayshore group and a bunch of groups, and we've all said, you guys take these 5, I'll take those 10, and we kind of shared.
Now, Patty, this is just locally, and then I want Jeremy to speak. This is locally, right?
Correct. This
Okay.
is pretty much the Bayshore.
Right, so this is just the Bayshore. So can you share those numbers again slowly? This is just the Bayshore.
Just the Bayshore.
Just to get the impact of the work.
It is thousands.
So this is just the Bayshore. What are the numbers of the Bayshore?
So I don't have glasses on. 382 families will receive baskets next week. We're also, by the way, partnering with a local restaurant to provide hot meals for seniors, and I believe that was around 120 hot meals. There's 2,800 wishes for children.
So 2,800, because this ties to building capacity and scaling efforts. Go ahead, I'm sorry. 2,800 in the Bayshore alone.
So far.
In the Bayshore.
They're still coming in.
And that, one thing I can say that Raine does not do well is say no. I probably shouldn't say that on camera, right? But it is true. We don't, if someone says, I just got furloughed and I don't know how I'm doing Christmas, we're going to help them, or we'll find a resource.
So COVID clearly changed everything, right? I mean, we talk about feeding kids as an example. When schools close, a lot of us don't think of the fact that means kids don't eat, right? That there's so many children who are dependent on getting their food basically delivered to them through their schools, and families that get backpacks or boxes for weekends. A child's only hot meal may be at school. So when school closes, what do you do? The other thing that some of us take for granted is when school goes online, not everybody has a computer. Not everybody has the internet, right? There are access issues, and so the learning gap becomes even larger, right? So now you have a bigger food insecurity gap. You have an access to education gap. You have parents, as you alluded to earlier, that can't figure out how to get to work because now their young children are at home. It trips off so many other issues. We as a foundation had to change completely what our plans were for this year, obviously, like everyone else. We have mobilized to this point about $1.5 million in the area to help support that effort. We also we provided Zoom accounts. Who even knew what Zoom was before? That wasn't even a thing, right? We provided Zoom accounts to over 120 nonprofits that we've been paying for since the beginning of the pandemic, so that they can continue doing their work virtually. And we've had to change our focus. Our pillars are the arts, education, and healthcare, but COVID those are all under the umbrella of economic excellence at the Central Jersey Shore and ecosystem growth, right? Well, now we're at crisis management, right, which is very different. But you can't turn a blind eye to that. Moreover, there's another large issue which we haven't mentioned yet on this stage, which is social justice, systemic racism, and racial equity, which have become tremendous foci for so many organizations, ours included. We had to take a long look internally at ourselves and recognize that, frankly, we were like 5 white people sitting around making decisions about what was right for our world, and that's unacceptable. So we've had to look inside to do some work to really become an anti-racist organization, which we hadn't considered. And we're helping our nonprofit community have those same conversations because, I think that a lot of them have had that similar kind of epiphany, and somebody's had to hit us over the head with a brick to say, wake up, right? So it's been just an insane time, but I think we're all getting through it together. I think you've seen organizations that have risen to completely new heights, that have really stepped up and made themselves, have really made themselves even more important. I sit also on the board of the Council for New Jersey Grantmakers in the state and the Center for Nonprofits in the state. And we've been doing a lot of work around how we can help the sector. And the sector is really stepping up. So it's been a crazy time.
So then, Jeremy, if there are, say, 3 things that you think nonprofits that are watching today or watching tomorrow, the next few days or so, that they should be thinking about and actively considering and or doing, what are they? And if there are certain resources that they should be looking towards to help educate and inform themselves and their boards and their constituencies, what would those ideas be?
So number one, and the thing that I think has been the most eye-opening for organizations, is you need to rethink fundraising, right? Rethink development. Nonprofits, a number of them, have relied heavily on gatherings, right? When we want to raise money, we're like, well, let's have a gala. Let's have a wine tasting. Let's do a golf outing. Let's figure out what the next thing we could do where we could charge money for tickets, and that's how we raise money. And frankly, those activities they're important, but those activities should be used to build your Rolodex, if anybody uses a Rolodex anymore. Those activities should be used to create warm lists of potential donors. You can raise more money in one conversation with someone with a lot of money than you can spending hundreds of hours putting together a gala, right? So a lot of organizations have to, number one, look at their development model because it's not coming back anytime soon, right? For assuming that we have a vaccine widely available by the summer, we still don't know how many people are going to A, take it, and B, still have the desire to get together in a large group and gather in an enclosed room. So number one is development. Number two, many nonprofits are delusional at this point and think that there's going to be some kind of incredible stimulus package that's going to bail them out of their financial doldrums. Like the money's coming like manna from heaven. And it's not. All right, it's just not. In case you haven't noticed, Washington doesn't always work right. we need to look within our organizations and look at how we can build deeper partnerships with other organizations. I use an example, and I hope they don't watch this. I use an example of Ocean County. In Southern Ocean County, we have 2 equestrian therapy nonprofits, okay, that use horses to help with physical and emotional ailments. Now, I'm not saying that's not a great venture, but do we need 2? Do we need 2 executive directors? Do we need 2 CFOs? Do we need 2 of everything, right? And when we can be better utilizing those resources. I'm not talking about merging organizations. I'm talking about utilizing resources together, right? Having a central CFO that can handle all of them. Centralizing your marketing, right? And your social media folks. There are things that can be done together and space, right? Even physical space. I think we've all had to look at physical space now. Like, do we need that office? Right? Why? Like, we can meet in different ways. Yes. So those are the first 2.
Well, and I'm hearing 2 things here. One, to coin a phrase, am I hearing that from the fundraising standpoint, disintermediation maybe, which is basically you have an intermediary essentially where you have an event, a ticket is purchased, the resources are gathered, there's a ticket purchase, there's an event, there's a cost, there's a net proceeds to the organization, which will then sponsor a family, as opposed to moving the intermediate step out and basically your donation of $50 funds this, your donation of $100 goes to here. You don't have to go to the event because 100% of your dollars are going to ABC. That's what I mean by disintermediation.
100%. So I think the 2 things that any nonprofit wants more than anything else are dollars that are not tied to a meal, right, or a service that they have to give back, and dollars that are not allocated to a specific purpose. Right, that's what nonprofits need, along with multi-year operational grants. Right, we need to fund operations. There was an old axiom that where a nonprofit would say 98% of our dollars go right to those impacted. That is so old school and so silly if you think about it, because would I rather say that 98% of my dollars go back when I raise $100,000 a year, or would I rather say that 80% of my dollars go back when I raise $10 million a year, right? Guess what? It costs money to make money. It does in the world of business, and so should it in the world of nonprofits. That's kind of the point of social entrepreneurism.
And you raised another concept that, to turn a phrase, if I made it more governmental oriented, you talked about what essentially are shared services. So maybe perhaps Freeholder, Deputy Director, you can speak to 2 things that I'm thinking about based on what Jeremy had just indicated. One is, to what extent are shared service opportunities encouraged? Right, the state is talking about shared services, for example, a chief financial officer, or it might be UCC building construction department, or another, maybe you're sharing a judge or prosecutor, or whatever the case may be, to reduce expenses in multiple municipalities. But to what extent, for the greater good, because we're all part of many different things together, can the county be involved with, unless it already is, with encouraging and helping navigate or grant fund nonprofits with shared services?
So I'm so glad you asked me. So let me talk about the overarching issue first. First of all, you should be thrilled if you live in Monmouth County, because we're just doing great things in our community. And it's people like the Raine Foundation, like Jeremy and your foundation, but great things happening. Here's one of the biggest issues: communication. What's out there? Who's doing what? How are they doing it? Where are they doing it? So Monmouth County did a study of the county, and from it came a program called Monmouth Acts, assisting communities through services. And part of the biggest goals of that is communicating what's out there. I went to a program on overdose and heard a mom talk. And she got up there and she cried and she said, the biggest problem is there are no services in this county for people with addiction. And I was horrified, because I know how much is out there, but we're not letting people know it's there. That's just one small example. nonprofits. The Raine Foundation is wildly successful in the Bayshore community, but does anybody in Freehold know that the Raine Foundation exists? They do now, because we've created a network and we've started to all work together to be able to have a better impact on our community. So when you say shared services, from a business perspective or a business or county perspective, we'll work with the municipalities. And if there's something that we can do with them to be cost effective and give them a better product, that's what we're doing. Same thing with the nonprofits and the organizations that are part of ACT. They work together now. They know about each other. So we've coined a phrase, there's no wrong door. So no matter where you enter the system for help, Patti now and the Raine Foundation knows about this organization and that organization because they're part of the network. And they can refer to the best place to help anyone that comes through any of the doors.
And the network and really the navigators, perhaps Jeremy, I think your organization really is, you're one of the navigators for so many nonprofits. Perhaps you could speak to that.
Yeah, so I mean that's I think a lot of what we do isn't just dollars. A lot of it is around connecting, right? And because we can't, no funder can fund everything. In fact, I think clearly if every foundation in the world got together and decided that they were going to pull all their money and work on one issue, we couldn't fix it, right? Just with money, there's just not enough. But what we can do is we can also kind of help people get to where they need to get to. I want to give you a larger, perfect example, though, of how government and how can really help the nonprofit sector. And I'll give you, it's the New York Times likes to write about it, and they like to write about it in the negative way, but it works when it's done right, and that's opportunity zones. So opportunity zones are an example of social entrepreneurship, because what it is it's incenting folks to invest, right, in something that they can realize yield on. Right? So you're going to make money on it, which is okay, by the way. It's okay to make money. I know we're not supposed to say that out loud sometimes, but it's all right to make money. And while they're investing and making money, they're also investing in an opportunity zone, which is a tax-advantaged investment area in an at-promise community, meaning a community that needs that investment of money. We used to do this by giving 3% sales tax or half sales tax, and that was like
UEZs,
yeah,
like urban enterprise zones.
Urban enterprise zones. We used to do it that way, but now we're saying, you know what? We want to do it even better. We want to incent folks to build buildings. We want to incent folks to develop and to move their businesses to these zones. And in exchange, we're going to give you a tax advantage and we're going to give you an opportunity. And so that has been something that's taken off over the last few years and has really pumped money into communities. And so that was developed really as a social entrepreneurship project, as an idea that said, here's something that we can do to change the world, and government can help. And it works. Now, look, truth is, are there some opportunity zones that you look at and you're like, what? That's an opportunity zone? That's in the middle of Brooklyn, and that's really hopping right now. But of course, we tend to throw the baby out with the bathwater, or we look at the examples of where it's gone wrong, and we don't look at what the overarching kind of opportunity is, which is really to incentivize folks to invest in these areas.
Yeah, and we have quite a few opportunity zones right here in Monmouth County.
Can you name some of them?
They're mapped out by specific zones.
Is it on visitmonmouth.com?
I don't know if you could find it on Visit Monmouth, but if you type in opportunity zones, you're going to get more information than you could ask for. It's a very popular program.
I'll give you an example. I mean, I'll call it the other side of Red Bank, right? Is an opportunity zone.
There you go. I know there's parts in Asbury too.
Yeah, and you can see where now you could see where projects are taking root, and we're really building up that area of the city, and it's great. I mean, this is how you now. The truth is, you also have to be careful that you're not gentrifying a city, but there are ways to do that creatively and smartly and do the right things. And I think you could see that in what's happening in Red Bank by the train station.
Absolutely.
And Jerry mentioned something I think is really important. Many businesses, they may be somewhat reticent in the fact that they're also in business to produce and generate income for their companies and things of that nature as they're endeavoring to assist a nonprofit. Many years ago, when I was involved in the Monmouth Ocean Development Council, the phrase was very simple. They call it enlightened self-interest, meaning that it's perfectly okay as you're generating. You need to generate revenue to help to help facilitate initiatives for nonprofits. So, but of course, you need to succeed as well. Oftentimes, whether it's with your family or your business life or your work life or your family life, if you don't take care of yourself, as selfless as you may be, if you yourself or if you're not taking care of yourself, then you're not able to help others.
That's right.
and maximize your abilities for others, right?
Yeah, and there's a movement now, and you some of you have heard of them. They're called B Corps. We're looking at different ways as a world that we're not just measuring companies by how much money they make, right? So right now, if you're on the stock exchange, your responsibility to your investors is to frankly make as much money as you possibly can, right? That's what you're there for. But there are new markets that have developed that are saying, yes, it's important for you to make money, and yes, we want to make money, but you also need to give back and impact your communities in a positive way. And if you're not doing both of those successfully, then you're not doing well and you're not fulfilling your mission. Frankly, if you're a millennial right now, if you're in your 20s and you're getting into the workforce, as important as making money and supporting your family is having a sense of purpose and a sense of meaning to what you're doing and wanting to feel good about that. And those are the companies they're going to work for.
Absolutely right. Yeah. I see it in my own children. You know, they're looking for something very different from their work environment these days. Of course, they want to make money, but they want to feel like they're making a difference in their community.
Are you experiencing the same thing?
I feel the same. I was going to use my children as an example, but you're right.
I want to use my children as an example now.
My children better be doing their class right now. So
it is so true. They think different than we do, and they want to give back. They want that sense of purpose. They want to own something. I don't mean physically. They want to emotionally own something that they're passionate about. So I agree with that.
I also worry about the generation, particularly with social media, which I think of as anti-social media. How do you maximize these platforms for the greater good without further disconnecting folks instead of connecting them, which is really almost another topic in another podcast. But how has the distancing, notwithstanding the pandemic distancing, but the virtual distancing, I'm not a great fan, frankly, of virtual. I'm looking forward to more in-person human connectivity, but it's getting quite disconnected, isn't it?
Don't watch that Social Dilemma on Netflix if you haven't. It'll scare the crap out of you. But I feel very differently because I feel like I watch my kids, and I have 3 teenagers, one of them in college, and I watch my kids and I watch the way they interact, and I think that they've learned to, they have so many avenues by which to interact with their friends. I never see my daughter doing homework without FaceTiming 5 other people at the same time, right? Like, we didn't have that opportunity, right? And I see that they have the right, because of sports, remember when we had those? Because of sports and other things, they have that ability to kind of interact. I think it's finding that balance, but I think there are more vehicles now than ever before. I think it's our job as parents to make sure that we're kind of putting a governor on it and doing the right thing about it.
No, absolutely. And I hope the folks that are watching and listening here in the audience, and thank you again so much for being here, that you're seeing how it's all related. Everything is related, from the work that folks do personally, professionally, nonprofit, and for-profit. So as we start to conclude and we start to wrap up, I wanted to make sure that the folks that are here, and also from your own perspective, that the key messages that you want to make sure that people take with them today and to carry into tomorrow and into the world of opportunities through your work. I'd like to make sure that people hear that. So I would like to start with you, Freeholder Director. Deputy Director.
You're really struggling with this, aren't you, Terrence?
Yes, I'm so, I think in advance. The opportunities that people want to take advantage of, because there's some limited funding with the grant, to the extent that there's an intersection with matching grants and things like that, to make sure that people are listening and they know where to go. From here, where do we go from here? For the people that have piqued their interest in the conversation, maybe they're in a nonprofit, maybe there's something that they heard, they don't know where to go from here, whether it's a website or phone number or email, however, or an individual that they should contact. That's what we'd like them to do. And also from the Raine Foundation, on folks that really want to make sure that the holidays are a beautiful and fantastic time where they feel really, really good and really they can get together with their family and not have that worry and that burden. Because folks may want to sponsor and know how to get in touch with you, how to get in touch with the organization. So instead of a list of 2,800 families, that list is 0. That's the goal. If we can accomplish part of that today, then we've had a heck of a good meeting. And then also from the Grunin Holdings standpoint, the different folks, the different issues, whether it's the educational, healthcare, and the arts, the pillars that you'd like people to be thinking about, and any of the resources that you have where people can learn and grow offline, because you have a tremendous trove of resources with the Catapult series and Social Entrepreneurship 101. If people can make that available to them, I'd like to speak to that before we wrap up today. And then we're going to open up to some questions for folks, because you're investing your time here today. You may have a question that you'd like to leave with an answer today, and we want to be able to share that with you. So, Freeholder, can we start with you, please?
Wow, real easy question. I think the best thing I could say right now, as far as where do you go for help, would be visit Monmouth.com. Because I could give you phone numbers for mental health resources, for charitable organizations, for shared services. But if you went to visitmonmouth.com, you would find a tremendous amount of information about all of that will really point you in the right direction. The freeholders are all listed there. Our phone numbers are all listed there. I have a tremendous confidential aide in Nicole Policia. She's going to kill me for giving you her name. No, she won't.
Nicole.
She, if I don't pick up the phone, she does, and she's tremendously responsive to anyone that calls and is looking for help, so reach out to both of us. But we're both available through Visit Monmouth, and I think that's the best direction I can give. The nonprofits are there, Monmouth Acts is there, Financial Recovery is there, so that's probably the best place to go.
Thank you so much. Yes, you were going to say.
Okay. So thank you, Terrence and Jeannie, for having us today. The Raine Foundation is a foundation that everyone can get involved in. And I usually end with this, but I want to start here. If anyone has someone that you're aware of that needs help, give us a call. That's easy. Just call us, and we will do it because you've asked. So please do that. Raine Foundation is there for everyone. We'll be delivering on the Monday and Tuesday before Thanksgiving. I think it's 23rd and 24th. And then we'll start with Christmas. And I would just ask anybody to reach out. We have a Facebook page, which is Raine Foundation. Our website is www.rainefoundation.com. And we're on all social media, and we have someone young managing that. To your point, it's true. And our phone number is 732-865-3555.
Can you spell Raine for everybody?
I'm sorry, that's a good point. Raine, it's reaching all in need every day, so it's RAINE. Important point. Thank you.
Yes, because I was researching the wrong organization for a while. So
we're better than the other one.
So a couple answers to that question. I would say, certainly the Raine Foundation, but also the United Way of Monmouth and Ocean County has a financial success center. They have navigator programs. Fulfill, formerly the Food Bank of Monmouth and Ocean County, has navigator programs. Lunch Break in Red Bank has navigator programs. There are a number of organizations. Your local food pantries typically have resources available to them if they do not have them in their midst to direct you to where to go, aside from the visitmonmouth.org.
But I got to tell you, honestly, 2 years ago, I couldn't say this, and today I can. You can find every single one of those in Monmouth Acts.
Yes. So there you go. And those are also great volunteer opportunities. All of those organizations that they are very good at mobilizing volunteers. Although I will tell you, in the COVID world, volunteering is a little bit more difficult. So, and if you're looking to give or looking for the right areas to give, you obviously have great opportunities here. We do not accept. We're a privately funded family foundation, so we don't solicit. We only give out. We don't take in. But you could certainly visit gruninfoundation.org or our Facebook page, Instagram page, Twitter feed. We don't have Snapchat. We don't have a Tinder account.
Yet.
Swipe right, I think. It's interesting asking for spelling the Raine Foundation, and I was really just thinking that the Raine Foundation brings so much sunshine to families in the Bayshore area. It's really so true. And
That was corny. You should have kept that one.
wasn't that good? I got him on disintermediation. Did you see that pause? That was
I liked it.
I was trying to break it down etymologically, and I was stuck.
If I slowed down Jeremy for a moment, I consider that a big win. Yeah, I'm just teasing. So the and you know I grew up in Holmdel, Monmouth County. I was sharing a little earlier. I did 9 years on the township committee, my penance, as I would call it, and I'm proud to volunteer for the 3,000 students as a member of the Holmdel Board of Education now. And so, as a lifelong resident of Monmouth County and Holmdel, and knowing Bell Works for so many years, it's wonderful to see Jeremy Grunin here in Monmouth County. I know you spend a lot of time here, right? So, because I want to also make sure all the folks are familiar with the Grunin Foundation here in Monmouth County, and to get the word out of all the different opportunities, all the different fantastic things that are going on, and to log onto the website and learn and grow. And I'm very confident that I could say with certainty for the folks that your mom and your dad and your family have helped for over the years, thank you. They would share with you right now. They say thank you.
Well, thank you. We started in Ocean County, came to Monmouth County. I grew up in Ocean County, but we came to Monmouth County on weekends. That was like our weekend getaway. Obviously, we had to come to Monmouth County to eat dinner because there's no restaurants really in Ocean County, but that's a separate issue. My parents, it was very important for them to give back, right, to the communities that had been so good to them since they got here in 1970. So thank you.
No, it's wonderful. And learn about their work. And it's inspiring because you see, when you're learning and seeing all the different work over the years, over 40 years, I believe, and all the work of your family, you see so much need that currently exists, and also leveraging the business experience, leveraging the governmental side, the nonprofit side with the business side, and that interactivity. The idea, obviously, is to create catapult, a synergy, to create something bigger than you anticipated when you first were intending on doing well by doing good, for others. And so what we'd like to do, if we can, if there are a few questions from the audience, we'd like to hear your question now. You share with the folks that are up here today, and then we'll conclude for the day.
I have a comment, if that's okay.
We accept comments and questions up here on the panel.
Hi, I just wanted to say thank you for being here. I enjoy this meeting. I can't wait till it happens every month, but thanks for everything that each of you do. And one comment, I am donating to the Raine Foundation through BCB Bank. Holly is a member. She reached out to the Hazlitt business owners, so we're all helping too. I encourage everybody to help because it is a great foundation, and I know that there's a lot of need out there. I've heard stories, and I don't know how you guys can do it. I'm getting chills thinking about it because the stories I heard from last Christmas were just, I can't believe that people are in that much need. I mean, I know it's out there, but it's great that you all do help. And the Monmouth Cares, I do know businesses that have been applying, and it's a really great program. And I know Sue is encouraging. I follow her around for some reason, but it is encouraged. I mean, don't think you won't get it. Just apply, because I know a lot of people were negative, and they were applying, and Monmouth County does care. So that's all.
Thank you. And I heard the application is the easiest thing to fill out. That's what I was told.
It is. It's very easy.
Can I piggyback on that for 1 second? I just want to say, I consistently the freeholders proactively went to each of the performing arts venues in Monmouth County and said, we want to be able to make you whole from your COVID expenses. Please submit for a grant, and gave it to them. That is an example that I carry throughout the state as what one county is doing, that every county should be doing to save the arts, because the arts. This is not like an elitist thing. This is about unlocking creativity in kids. This is about mental health, right? It's not about like going to see an opera. It's about what it does for the psyche and for the human soul and for creativity. And there is not enough attention being paid to it in this critical time.
If I can just add to that, one of the other things we're doing that I'm very proud of is we have about 10, don't quote me on the number, schools for special needs children, a lot of autism, et cetera. And we're awarding grants to them as well because it is critical for them to stay functioning for these kids.
If I can jump in for a second about the arts, Jeremy, since you brought that up again, and it's a great point. I want to talk about Maggie O'Brien for a moment. She's the executive director of the Middletown Arts Center. And full disclosure, I'm a board member. But I sit on a few different boards, and I don't think I've ever met anybody face the challenges with an organization like Maggie has, and she just keeps going with her tenacity. So not only were you dealing with the pandemic, right? But she totally went virtual. She had, she brought that back again virtually, the Art Center. And then the Art Center had a major flood that ripped out the whole first floor, and no one was able to use the first floor again. That was after everything was up and running. So then Maggie gets a huge tent outside, right? And you're working out there and you're having classes outside. Of course, now the seasons are changing, and then something else happens with the HVAC system, correct me if I'm wrong, and the whole theater floor bubbles up. So now the theater can't be used. So now you found, but she never stops moving, never stops working. I've never seen anyone this passionate in their job, really. And now she found space to rent in a local church nearby, right? And she's shifted to that. And so I don't know, at least now with yesterday's executive order, there is room in there for entertainment centers and the arts. And that's one thing that's on your side. But really, we need to support the Middletown Arts Center and give generously when we can to them, because I can tell you that even with all of that happening, how many students do you have enrolled now? You see, she never stops.
That's great.
She's always. Thank you, Maggie.
And Jeremy, we participated in all the Catapult Your Capacity sessions, and they were great because they didn't just help you, they taught you how to help yourself. So I benefited greatly from that. Sue, thank you for the grant opportunities we are applying, and thanks for mentioning the Show Must Go On grant for specifically for performing arts venues. That's an amazing opportunity. And I know the community is rallying around each other and helping each other. The Arts Center has other nonprofits that we are also trying to help.
And do you share and communicate with Count Basie and the other arts-related organizations? Do they communicate their programming?
Yes, to different extents. There's a New Jersey State Theater Alliance that John McEwen runs. He's actually based here in Monmouth County, but the Theater Arts Alliance is working very hard to kind of standardize what the post-COVID world looks like, and help venues make sure that they're kind of up to snuff and doing things as safely as they can. For example, at the Count Basie now, we've been doing live programming now for a few weeks in our second stage at the Vogel with 150 folks seeing live music at individual tables, with their little pods, your immediates, and it's been going very, very, very well. And I think it's one of the examples of how it can be done in this crazy world.
I also just wanted to say, Patti alluded to it a little bit, but really, if you keep an eye on your mission and you just focus on that, you find a way to make it happen. So when I think all of the nonprofits and all of the businesses share that, you're passionate about something, if you focus on your mission, no matter what the obstacles are, you can make it happen. So
couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And thank you, Jeannie.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Maggie. Is there anyone else that has a question? Okay. Wait, Mary Beth, hold on.
So first is for Raine, the Raine Foundation, Patti. I don't know if anyone has seen what they do for the holidays, but it's absolutely incredible how they give to children. And I've often said to multiple charities, You know, we don't want to duplicate efforts. Whatever Raine Foundation is doing for the holidays is what everybody should be doing, or donating to Raine to do that. I know that you normally have your gala every year in December, and that brings in a lot of funds for you. Are you doing any type of virtual gala this year to continue to raise those funds?
So no, we are not. This is the first year since we began that we did not have any fundraising this year. But I am finding that we did do an annual appeal, a letter, and we are doing a 50-50. And to Jeremy's point, we are going to be okay. You know, we are raising funds still without having people gather. So that's been excellent. And we are doing things differently. So I'm sure that was your follow-up.
Yes.
This year, we used to bring people in, probably 200 to 300 people per night, to help us wrap and select gifts for families and put them in a specific area. Now we're sorting through gifts and we're telling people, come in, pick up a bag, bring it home, wrap it, label it, bring it back. So we've created a whole lot of new ways to volunteer and feel good and really make an impact for children who need it.
Perfect. And all of that information is on your website, how to do that.
Thank
okay,
you.
Perfect.
Yes.
You're welcome. And then, Sue, I have a question. As you know, I work with a lot of the nonprofits, and I know even Hope for Children isn't a part of Monmouth Acts. Is there a process for a charity to get involved with Monmouth Acts?
The best suggestion I could give to you is to reach out to Nicole. We actually have two Nicoles. There's another Nicole that works with the Monmouth Acts organization, and just make sure that we get you involved. Nobody's turned away. We want this network to be very comprehensive so that people know what's out there and how to access it and work together. We can talk more about that too.
Thanks, Mary Beth.
Yeah.
Whoops. Hello.
Okay.
Anyone else with a question or a comment? Okay. Am I on?
All right. Well, yes.
Okay.
Good.
So I want to adopt a family. So you can count
Done.
on. Yes. Yeah. You can count on.
Thank you. And anyone that does, no matter if you want one child or 10 children, or one gift or 10 gifts, just let us know.
I can tell you that one thing that I've been doing for the last 3 years, it's called, I named it the Boxes of Love, and I collect, and we have huge gift baskets for all of the, sound so muffled, for all of the teenage girls that are in the group homes with Collier. And I can't tell you how my children look so forward to helping shop for those gifts. We have all the names of the girls. My kids are saying, oh, let's get this for Maria, or let's get this for Sue. We're like, there is no Sue. I'm kind of putting names in there. And then I put a post on one of the private Holmdel Facebook sites, and now I have a team of people. And I just put out the text last week, and like within 10 minutes, I have pledges for like $2,000 worth of items to divide up and give these girls. And then there's a couple different, St. Leo's, my rosary group's involved in it, and St. Catherine's Church is involved in it. And these girls would get personalized notes from some of the teenagers at the youth group of St. Catherine's. And that has really changed how I feel about Christmas and how my kids feel about it. They get excited. And they're going to be really excited about this family that we now adopt and, and sponsor. And I'm excited about it.
So you accept cash donations, right?
We love cash.
So we'll make a $5,000 donation to the Raine Foundation.
Thank you so much.
That's great.
Thank you so much. That's amazing. Thank you.
This is the magic that we love in these Holmdel Chamber meetings.
Jeannie, you told me I had to do that. That was the only way to get me up here. Was that a lie?
Yeah, no, I'm not an extortionist. You're mixing me up with
Jeannie's fabulous.
We wanted to have a case study in disintermediation. That's what we want to do.
Jeannie, I would like
As
to
opposed
join
to that
you
and
in your group for the Collier Girls. So my family would also like to take one of yours.
Oh, we would love that.
Thank you.
Oh, that's awesome. See, and that's what's so beautiful about the podcast that we're having, because I'm going to share a story, and then we're going to wrap up with what's your next big thing, So that's a little heads up so you can share that. What do you see on the horizon? What's your next big thing? Just what just happened now, that interaction, that connectivity is really what this is all about in so many different ways. At a prior meeting, Bob Hugel was here, and he runs the Francis Foundation, which just does so much incredible work for children that are fighting pediatric cancer and working towards health and wellness. And there was an event that they had, it was maybe last year or the prior year, where it was so packed at the Ocean Hilton, you could not move. And if you were there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You could not move. And we were just talking up here, just like you were sitting right here. And I said, you know, Bob, you're in the wrong location. You should have had it at Bellworks, right? And so we had an incredible special guest who's the visionary behind Bellworks, Ralph Zucker, president of Somerset Development, who's here because we had a fantastic meeting, and he was kind enough to share his time with us. And, you know, very organically, he said very simply, Mr. Hugel, the next event that you're having in person, you're having it here as my guest.
Wonderful.
Powerful.
Right.
Powerful.
Bob Hugel's a great guy.
Oh, Bob
Great
is
guy.
fantastic. And the generosity, the Bellworks visionary, Ralph Zucker, and the work that he's doing, it's helping to facilitate so many different things. They talk about collab in the collab space here. If you need space, check it out. But collaborating, communication and collaboration. And you don't know, when we were talking earlier, what we were going to go over today. And the answer was, we don't quite know. We're going to have a beginning of the meeting. It's going to have a journey. And it's going to help inform and educate and communicate with the people that are watching. So as we conclude the meeting, Freeholder, Deputy Director, Sue Kiley. I'm so excited.
I'm never going to live that down, am I?
What's your next big thing?
You know, there's two things that come to mind. One is that I'm up for re-election next year, so it's going to be a very, very busy year for me personally. But the other thing, in all seriousness, is related to the Health and Human Services Department, because that's what I oversee, and that's the vaccines. You know, that's the next really big thing.
Absolutely.
And we've been working very diligently for several months to be prepared for when a vaccine hits, we're ready to be able to distribute it. So we've already looked into contracting for people that can administer vaccines, you know, the space and the time and the staff and the security and all of that required to do vaccines, so that when we're able, when we get the go-ahead, we're ready to go. So that's the next big thing, I think.
Thank you for that. Mm-hmm. Patti Dickins, what's the next big thing?
So the next big thing is the current big thing, I think, because between now and year end, we'll be helping families in the Bayshore. But immediately beyond that, I think I'm calling Jeremy. And because we can only get better. And I think with your help, we'll get there. So I think that'll be our next big thing, to figure out how we get bigger and better and can support more and more families.
And other organizations can see your success and how they could duplicate. So for their list of 2,800 families in their community, whether it's Ocean, Monmouth, or any county.
Right. To your point, we are partnered with most of the organizations that were named here today. And I think I agree with you. I think it's important that all nonprofits get together and figure out how you can help each other. We've done it with many of you already. And I think that's a really great point you brought up.
So there's big projects on the horizon with Interfaith Neighbors, with Lunch Break, with Children's Specialized Hospital, with Robert Wood Johnson Barnabas, with Hackensack Meridian. There's also, we just announced, we're about to do a ribbon cutting for a sim lab, which is a partnership between Monmouth Medical and Monmouth University, which basically teaches young residents as well as EMTs, et cetera, kind of how to deal with surgical eventualities before they pop up in front of them on an operating room table with a live person. It's a state-of-the-art sim lab that is going to be right near the Monmouth Mall that we're ribbon cutting for. And then I think for us, it's about really, yesterday we kind of formalized what our Catapult Your Capacity topics will be for next year. I think we have some really great stuff on the horizon. We're working on the list of speakers and who we want to do present these things. But, you know, it's the challenge for us always is to be able to add more value to the folks that are so gracious about giving their time to us and believing in us that we're going to provide great content and help them kind of build their capacity.
Well, thank you so much for that. And the next best thing, the next big thing for the Holmdel Chamber of Commerce, we're experiencing it right now together and growing by sharing the views and information from so many fantastic guests from all different facets of life, business, nonprofit, public, private, and trying to do well by doing good as an all-volunteer organization that's simply dedicated to getting folks together to learn, to grow, and to help be a part of something that's really important. So we're right in the middle of something big, and that's really being with the three of you here today and all the guests that are here as well. So I want to thank you so much for being a participant and sharing your time today. For the folks that are on Facebook, kindly share it. Share the news to nonprofits and other groups. If there's families that you think, anybody you think that would benefit from the information that they're hearing in a multi-jurisdictional way, public and private, nonprofits, governmental, right? Share that information. That would be wonderful. You can follow us on Facebook. And I also would like to shout out to Shared Universe Podcast. Ming, thank you so much for your efforts today to bring this all together. And of course, as always, thank you very much to Ralph Zucker, the folks at Somerset and Bell Works. What a beautiful, beautiful location that's open for business. Come on down. It's a wonderful, beautiful, iconic location located on Crawford's Corner Road in Holmdel Township. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here today. We really appreciate your time. See you next month.
Thank you.